Hey, my name is Jeff Paul from QC Orthodontic Lab, and today we're going to show you how to adjust the lingual wire and the buccal wire to the Apex TMA spring retainer. One of the things that I had said in a previous video, we are going to talk about how we can scrape the teeth as opposed to resetting the teeth. The reason why we have the capability of doing it with the Apex TMA spring retainer is that there is no acrylic on the lingual and facial of the teeth. One of the important things that I want the technicians to realize is that this impression of the lower anterior teeth from cuspid to cuspid needs to be registered with a piece of wax. So what I'm going to do is heat this wax up, place it from cuspid to cuspid, and press it down so that we have an impression of these teeth. The importance of this for placement of spring by the QC at the end is very important. So I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to use it anymore right now, but this is the importance. You can see the impression of the teeth. The other thing we were talking about was being able to make the appliances without resetting teeth. And as you can see, this central incisor is fairly well in line. We need some mesial rotation here, mesial rotation here, and some bodily movement forward here. So what I'm going to do, remember the lingual wire has a smooth contour on the lingual and the facial. That's not going to change. It's going to continually push it until those teeth line up on the back of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scrape the mesial lingual part of this lower right central until it matches up with the central that we marked that is in the correct position. The lower left lateral also needs to line up. Now this is lined up. You can see right here. So I got a mark right there. It lines right up with that one. Let me scrape a little bit more of that right there. Now it's lined up. Lower left lateral, same thing. Scrape it until the part of that pencil line is off and actually lines up with the lower left central. So as you can see now that lines up. This lower right lateral needs to move buccally, bodily. So we'll scrape that off. As you can see, now we're at the position that the doctor wants to achieve. Okay, so when this appliance goes around to the QC department, this is a finished appliance. You can see the acrylic, smooth curve, smooth curve. So when it gets around to the QC, they will have a model with reset teeth or scraped teeth. When it goes around there, if the amount of movement necessary is around 2 millimeters, you will actually, when it goes in the mouth, when you get it on the model, this wire will be farther down closer to the cingulum because there's a certain amount of movement that needs to take place. When you put it in the patient's mouth, it's going to be up where it needs to be, closer to between the cingulum and the incisal wedge. That's where you want to start. So let's say you got 2 millimeters or maybe even 3 millimeters of movement. You should not have to do a whole lot of adjustments. Here's the adjustment that I would make on the first visit or maybe second visit when you've actually starting to get some movement. It should be activated when it leaves the lab, but if it's not, this is what we recommend the doctor do. You can just grab right here and you can push down on it. That might be sufficient for the second or third visit. And then you can just grab here and pull lingually. The other way you can do it, you can actually put a roach carver or something inside of here. Inside this loop right here you can see. You can adjust it this way. Do the same amount of adjustment on the other side. If it looks like the lingual spring is too high up on the incisors when you put it in the patient's mouth, my suggestion is to flip it around this way and look at it. You can use a bird beak plier. Ours has a little groove in it. You can maybe, you'll find something to do it with. You might even be able to use a Weingart plier or something, but one of the things you want to do in order to bring that lingual wire farther down on the teeth so it's not so far on the incisal edge is you go right in here and you give it a squeeze here. You can squeeze here. You can grab the body wire at the base and you can squeeze this loop here. You can see it flexing, and you can squeeze the loop here. And you can just mess around with it a little bit until you get it where you want it, and then you just stick it right back in the mouth. I would suggest that we want that wire between the cingulum and the incisal edge when the appliance is put in. Other than that, it's fairly simple as far as adjustments go. I have talked to doctors a little bit about it, and I've seen them go in and try to put little notches in the wire. I highly recommend not doing that because this wire is TMA, and I'm afraid you won't be able to get that knot back out or that notch back out again once you start reaching the end of the treatment, because you want that smooth curve, facial and lingual. The Apex TMA is an awesome appliance. We're getting great results with it. It's unbelievable. It's so flexible. You can get 3 to 4 millimeters of movement on teeth like you've never seen before. A lot of guys are using the clear aligners. I think it's great if you got a patient, or even if yourself wants to save the money. This is around, I think the price on this is somewhere as close to $150. 3 or 4 millimeters of movement. Just think of how many trays you would save by using this. And you may want to use this with a clear bow. We have clear bows we can put on the upper or lower, but on the clear bows, the cases where you have more facially moving teeth from the lingual facially is the best ones to use if you want to use a clear bow. If you have a lateral or a central that's rotated mesially out, the clear bow doesn't have the potential to move that tooth back in like the labial bow, the TMA labial bow. So I appreciate you joining me today in the lab. This is the video for adjustment. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at 1-800-537-1018. Steve Kreidler is my head technician in the acrylic department, and myself, you can ask for me, Jeff Paul, Steve Kreidler, don't forget that. And if you have any questions, give us a call. We do have kits available. We've talked about that for the lab technicians, for the doctor that has that in-house lab. It makes it easy to make these spring retainers right in the lab. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again for coming to QC Orthodontic Lab.